For some, the past is a ghost, but for Lee Jilin it is a wound that never truly healed, a pain only buried beneath the weight of time. A chilling letter haunts her thoughts, a final command from someone long gone. He has come, and she must kill him. This mission was a second chance given by heaven, a chance to choose a family. But that choice cuts both ways, a desperate desire to save one of them, and an equally powerful urge to destroy the other. In a haze of blood and regret, a silver-haired boy named Glenn once promised he would go to hell with her, blaming himself for everything. Now, a man with haunted eyes begs for atonement, needing her, while Glenn resolves to move forward. But for Jilin, the target she must kill is one of the two men she was fated to meet again. In a room filled with memories, Zhu clutches his head, tormented by a past failure, a shattered glass mirroring his broken state. He whispers that it is all his fault, staring at an old photograph of himself and another boy from the orphanage. He has to atone. A few days later, in Junkie, Lee Jilin, a ballerina, stands in the rain smoking a cigarette before her big performance of Swan Lake. She rereads the same ominous letter, addressed to her this time, ordering her to kill him because he has come to find her. Her friend interrupts, playfully asking if she is reading a love letter before snatching it away. Julin dismisses it as a prank. Her friend, completely oblivious, starts gushing about a handsome and funny male streamer she has become obsessed with. But when Julin glances at the screen, her composure shatters. The face from her past stares back at her, triggering a storm of emotions she is clearly not prepared to face. Outside the theater, her friend Zhu asks for a cigarette. Jilin suddenly announces she is returning to Shanghai for a relative's funeral and has already informed the troupe leader. Her friend is stunned, asking how she could give up a role she worked so hard for. Jilin looks out into the rain and says quietly that her mother already disowned her, so it doesn't matter. Besides, what she truly wanted to be was never the white swan. 2 days later, in Shanghai, she stands near a graveyard waiting for a farewell ceremony. She overhears people chatting about their successful lives, a world away from her own shadowed purpose. She waits patiently by Aunt Q's grave, her expression unreadable. As another woman suggests they leave, Jilin asks to wait a little longer. A hand reaches through the foliage, and she sees the silver-haired man from her memories, Glenn, standing by Zhu. Zhu's crimson eyes lock onto hers, a smirk playing on his lips as he confirms her identity, asking if she is Jilin. The question pulls her back to the orphanage, to a small crying girl with a scraped knee and a dropped bucket. The memory arrives like a whirlwind of conflicting emotions, a voice in her head pleading not to go. Back in the present, both men stand before her. Zhu greets her casually, as though no time has passed at all, and as she looks at them, she thinks to herself that they have finally met, and the person she is meant to kill is one of them. As they shake hands, Zhu's young ward coughs, breaking the tension. The boy remarks that she found them, but Glenn corrects him, saying he found her. Glenn then excuses himself, leaving Jilin alone with Zhu. Zhu notes that this is their first meeting since the orphanage. He leans in close, a playful glint in his eye, asking whether she thinks he looks like the male lead of a romantic drama in this lighting. Jilin dismisses his antics and asks what he wants. He explains he simply needed a photo for his social media quota, then asks whether she became a ballet dancer. The question sends her spiraling into the past again. She remembers being a shy little girl, too scared to step onto the stage. Zhu had encouraged her back then, even demonstrating a clumsy ballet pose just to make her laugh. He'd stumbled, but she caught him, and he praised her for being a cool hero. She had called herself ugly, but he reassured her that confidence was all that mattered. He had told her that heaven gave them a second chance to choose their own family. His old question, "Can you dance now?" echoes from the past. But the memory twists into something darker as she finds herself falling into a black abyss. The words, "kill him," scroll violently across her vision. She clutches her head, overwhelmed by the psychic assault. The pain crashes her back to reality, and she stumbles. Zhu catches her, his playful demeanor vanishing instantly as he asks if she's all right. He insists on finding her somewhere to rest, but as he supports her, Glenn watches from a distance, his expression a mask of cold fury. In the sterile quiet of a moving car, Taiwee's gaze drifts to the rearview mirror where Glenn sleeps peacefully, and a quiet resentment builds within him as he silently questions why she is even with them. The driver, his silver-haired companion Zhu Jin, explains he offered their spare room, remarking on how peacefully she sleeps. He reminds Taiwee of her situation. A falling out with her foster mother has left her with nowhere to go in Shanghai, and gently chastises him for being so cold toward her childhood friend. But Zhu's expression hardens as he looks back at the sleeping Glenn, stating coldly that he does not consider her a friend at all. He quickly changes the subject, warning Taiwee not to cause another incident like last time, leaving Taiwee to sit quietly with the weight of Glenn's reappearance in their lives. Arriving at their building, Taiwee explains the layout and offers Glenn the spare unit. When she offers to pay rent, he dismisses it, suggesting the now famous photographer Zhu can cover it. Zhu shuts that down immediately, stating coldly that he does not need her and announcing his part is done before retreating to his room. Taiwee's attempt to reunite the orphanage trio for celebratory drinks is met with a flat rejection from Zhu, who tells them to go by themselves.
Watching him leave, Glenn astutely observes that Shanzhu is clearly wary of her, which she considers fair after so many years apart. But she finds Taiwee's unguarded happiness at seeing her far more curious. He smiles, remarking on how much she has grown before inviting her out for a drink again. It is an offer she finds impossible to refuse. As they head to a bar, Zhu remains alone in his shadowed room, a silent observer left behind. At the Raccoon Bar, Taiwee offers Glenn a fruity drink, but she insists on having whatever he is having. The bar's owner is visibly impressed when Glenn expertly pops open a beer bottle with a pair of chopsticks, and he compliments Taiwee's on his pretty companion. The insinuation that they're a couple makes Taiwee instantly uncomfortable, and a sudden desire to go home washes over him. Glenn notices his discomfort and playfully reassures him that she was only teasing before excusing herself to the restroom. On her way, however, a chilling sensation creeps up her spine, the distinct feeling of being watched from the window. Inside the restroom, as she splashes water on her face, the sound of a young girl sobbing from a nearby stall triggers a dark and fragmented memory, a traumatic echo she desperately tries to push away. She leans against the door, silently begging it to stop following her. 20 minutes later, she returns to find Taiwee completely drunk and slumped over the table. That unsettling feeling of being watched creeps back in. The cool night air sobers Taiwee slightly, and he decides they should leave, asking her for a cigarette. She hands him her last one, gently chiding him that smoking is bad for his health. In a bold move, she takes the lit cigarette from his lips and brings it to her own, suggesting they share. In the charged silence that follows, she proposes they head to his place for another drink, and he quietly agrees. But as they ascend the stairs, their night is violently interrupted by a screaming woman named Lin, who lunges at them and accuses them of being cheaters. Taiwee shoves Glenn out of the way just in time to take a stinging slap across the face. Glenn calmly touches her bruised cheek as Lin Na, Taiwee's obsessive ex, demands to know who Glenn is and when their affair started. Glenn internally realizes that Taiwee is far more complicated than she initially thought and decides to change her approach. At her door, she tries to reason with Lin Na, who refuses to accept their breakup. Taiwee realizes Lin was the person staring at them from the bar. As the confrontation escalates, he apologizes to Glenn for the ruined night and asks for 30 minutes to handle his ex. Glenn coolly declines, wishes them both a good night, and shuts the door, left to wonder whether she is the thing he still needs to settle. 3 days later, a visibly exhausted Glenn tries to buy sleeping pills from a pharmacy. Her phone buzzes incessantly with calls she ignores and a flood of messages from her old dance troupe berating her for leaving. The emotional weight becomes too much, and outside, she collapses beside a trash can, overcome with nausea. A voice asks if she is sick, and she looks up to find Jianzhu standing over her. He eyes her frog print pajamas and asks if that is what women her age wear, a comment that flusters her completely. As he starts to leave, he turns back and cheekily invites Miss Frog out for a late-night snack. He notices her glasses, and she defensively declares them a fashion statement. He suddenly gets up and leaves her waiting, making her feel deeply self-conscious about her pajamas and worn slippers, only to return moments later with a warm cup of pumpkin porridge, telling her it will soothe her throat. She takes a sip and is stunned by how sweet it is. The taste unlocks a forgotten memory of her saying that the perfect porridge needs 2 spoons of sugar. Her eyes meet Zoo's, and in his steady gaze, she finds an unspoken understanding. He remembered. The restaurant owner interrupts their quiet dinner, offering a complimentary dish because they look so good together. Zoo immediately shuts down Jilin's suggestion to drink, stating coldly that he is not drinking tonight. He addresses her as Tai Jilin, a formal name that hangs heavy in the air between them. Then he reaches out, saying there's something on her shoulder, but Jilin recoils with the speed of a startled cat. The lightning-fast dodge makes him wonder if he is some kind of virus. Changing the subject, he pierces the silence by asking whether she has met Tao Wei's ex-girlfriend, Lin Na. The sudden question catches Jilin completely off guard, leaving her speechless. Just then, Tao Wei himself makes a dramatic entrance. He immediately accuses them of dating behind his back, then leans in to whisper a chilling confession to Zhu that he has planted a tracker on him hidden away in his underwear. Tao Wei warns Jilin to be careful of quiet men like Zhu, calling them the most dangerous kind. Jilin sighs, saying she came out to relieve stress only to find herself surrounded by it. Her phone buzzes with a message from a senior asking for help with a Swan Lake performance. Tao Wei immediately becomes possessive, demanding to know if Jilin has cut ties with Lin Na, claiming he only sent her away because she was unstable, then brazenly labels himself a scumbag in the same breath. Caught between the two intense men, Jilin looks down at her phone and makes a decision, inviting them both to come watch her ballet performance. A week later, she is backstage, a vision in her swan costume, adjusting her tiara in the mirror as Zhu stands nearby with his camera in hand. Tao Wei smirks, commenting on how Zhu's photographer instincts always take over. Zhu coolly replies that he does not photographize just anyone, the words landing as a clear and deliberate challenge. Jilin emerges and holds out the tickets for them, and in a flash, both men reach for them at the exact same moment. Their hands hover over hers as they both declare they will take them. The air crackled with unspoken rivalry, leaving Jilin utterly bewildered by the sudden tension crackling between them.
Jin Zhu grabs Tao Wei's hand, telling him to take his and Lena's tickets while he handles Jilin's. But Tao Wei shoves his hand away. Instead, he takes Jilin's hand gently, his voice dropping to a low murmur that cuts through the backstage noise. He confesses that he has pictured her achieving her dream countless times, but nothing compares to seeing her like this right now. She pulls away, saying she needs to get ready, but his words linger long after she is gone. After she leaves, Tao Wei confronts Zhu, saying he wants to talk about Jilin, but a dark and bloody memory flashes through Zhu's mind, a promise to follow someone, to help. He snaps back to reality as Tao Wei tells him the show is starting. In the audience, Tao Wei's girlfriend Lena texts a friend, complaining that he dragged her to a ballet performance. Tao Wei himself looks utterly bored. He whispers to Zhu to go check on the restless Lena, but a short while later, Zhu notices she has vanished and asks where she went. With a grim expression, Tao Wei says he will be right back. He finds Lena sobbing on a grand staircase, clutching her phone. He confronts her coldly, asking how long she plans to keep up her game of lies, and reveals that he already knows about the new boyfriend waiting for her. Lena is stunned, demanding to know how he could accuse her of such a thing, but Tao Wei methodically dismantles her story, revealing that he has been in her fan group under an alternate account and knows she lied about taking a train when she was really riding in a luxury car. He points to her shoes, the very ones she had wanted as a gift, exposing her deceptions one by one. Lena breaks down in tears. He tells her to leave or regret it, adding that even if it were somehow a misunderstanding, he is still deeply unhappy. Anyone watching can see this relationship had already ended long before tonight. After the show, Jilin takes her curtain call to thunderous applause.
Later, the three of them sit down to eat when the subject of Tao Wei's personal assistant comes up, a fact that genuinely surprises Jilin. Her phone buzzes with a text from her senior, claiming to have spotted Jilin's childhood friend Shen Zhenchang in the audience. The two men notice her troubled expression, but she deflects smoothly, saying her friend was simply complimenting how handsome they both are. Their meal is shattered when Tao Wei's assistant, Lan Miju, bursts in with terrible news. Lena has put Tao Wei on blast on a gossip account, and the post is rapidly going viral. Tao Wei, who had turned off his notifications to watch Jilin's performance, calmly checks his phone. Jilin, overwhelmed, asks for a cigarette. As Lan Miju fumbles for a lighter, Jilin reads the headline accusing Tao Wei of neglecting his girlfriend for a lovesick neighbor. Her blood runs cold as she scrolls down and sees a candid photo of herself included in the article. The phone slips from her trembling grasp and clatters onto the table. Lan Miju warns that the post will explode across the internet within hours, and Jiling clutches her arm, eyes wide with horror, as Jinzu quietly asks if she is okay. Jilin wakes with a gasp, ripped from a nightmare of a giant watching eye, an echo of a venomous whisper, asking if she still remembers who he is. She sits up in bed, her heart pounding, the terror of the dream clinging to her like a shroud. She thought she had let it go, but a single message had dragged her back into the abyss, a stark reminder that pain is only forgotten, never truly erased. Seeking solace, she steps onto the balcony, lighting a cigarette and letting the smoke curl into the night air. Her neighbor, Tao Wei, is already there on his own balcony. He notes that she is not asleep. He jokes grimly that he's the world's biggest scumbag, so reviled that people are cursing his ancestors' graves, then adds with a hollow laugh that they don't even have any. The shared moment of bleak humor lingers before he asks how her new family is. Jilin takes a long drag, musing that adults always act for their own purposes, even when it comes to their children. She reveals that her mother's dream was for her to take her place on stage, a dream shattered by the fact that Jilin is not her biological child, and in her mother's eyes lacks the necessary talent. The confession hangs in the air. Tao Wei calls her over, his voice soft. He gently takes the cigarette from her lips, telling her it doesn't suit her, and as he caresses her hair, he urges her to stop acting so tough. He asks how she has really been, before he deflects into joking about how popular he is, causing her to threaten to go back to bed. Alone again, Tao Wei's facade crumbles as he stares at the hateful comments flooding his phone. His voice cracks as he calls her name. He begs Jilin to come out, confessing that he needs her. He counts down from 3, his hope fading with each second. But just as he gives up, she appears with a bottle of alcohol, asking if he planned on just standing there all night. Overwhelmed with relief, he looks at her and confesses that he thinks he might be falling in love with her. But back in the quiet of her room, a new message lights up her phone screen, a chilling declaration from an unknown sender. "I know it's you." The night's fragile peace is shattered again when her phone buzzes with another unknown number. As she answers, Tao Wei asks why she's picking up calls from strangers so late. A familiar and terrifying voice comes through the speaker, calling her by name and mocking her for not recognizing her first love. The bottle slips from her trembling hand and shatters on the floor. The voice continues its venomous assault, asking if she's with that influencer Tao Wei, sneering that he must look a lot like him. With quiet fury, Tao Wei, now standing barefoot amidst the broken glass, orders her to hang up the phone immediately. Jilin disconnects the call, and he tells her to place her hand on his shoulder before sweeping her in his arms and carrying her away from the danger. She realizes with a quiet shock that it's the first time she's ever seen him truly angry. Inside, as he carefully tends to the cut on her foot, she softly asks why he is so upset.
He slams his fist down, his voice trembling with rage as he demands to know how she could be so reckless with herself, crying out that she is a dancer and her feet are everything. His outburst leaves her stunned into silence.
He asks how else she expected him to react before fleeing the room in a state of confusion, muttering to himself that he is not the one who needs to sober up. The next day, she finds his door shut tight. He is deliberately avoiding her. Inside, his silver-haired friend tries to coax him out, but Taoyi grabs him, begging him not to leave and give away that he is home. Jilin, meanwhile, scrolls through the vicious online rumors swirling around Taoyi, her anxiety mounting as she realizes she needs to stop the cyberbullying before anyone digs too deep and unearths the incident from their shared past. On the third day, she meets with the friend who tells her that Taoyi simply wants to be reunited with her. Cutting straight to the chase, Jilin asks for Lin Na's number and declares her intent to send a challenge. On the call, she coldly informs a stunned Lin Na that she is going to lose completely because they are stray dogs who will do anything to protect what is theirs. As she prepares for a livestream to clear Taoyi's name, a series of increasingly disturbing messages arrive from an unknown number. The sender knows her schedule, her performance routes, and has even been inside her dressing room. A video clip arrives, followed by a final terrifying promise: they will be meeting again soon. Her friend notices her distress, but Jilin pushes it down, her voice steady as she says it is nothing and that it is time to get started.
Zhu secures the final piece of the puzzle, confirming to his contact that the transfer records have been received, providing him with all the evidence he needs against Lin Na. On the screen, a message from her current boyfriend lays out her deception. She had claimed to be single while receiving hundreds of private transfers. His companion, Taoyi, stares at the screen, but his thoughts are clearly somewhere else entirely. Zhu notes with cold amusement that while Lin Na wants to crush him, Taoyi is still preoccupied with his living easel, and he advises against posting the evidence online just yet. Suddenly, a notification shatters the tense silence. Zhu announces that Taoyi's alternate account has inexplicably gone live far ahead of schedule. Taoyi's eyes widen in confusion, a confusion that turns to sheer panic when the name Li Jilin flashes across the screen. Recognizing the woman on the live stream, Taoyi shoves past Zhu and rushes out of the room in a desperate frenzy. On the stream, the masked woman introduces herself as Li Jilin, a friend of Taoyi's from the orphanage, holding up her adoption document as proof. As the chat explodes with curiosity, Taoyi is paralyzed by a visceral memory, a phantom voice whispering a promise to meet again, which he furiously shakes off as nonsense. Later, Jilin awakens on a couch with a soft blanket draped over her. Zhu sits nearby, his expression unreadable, informing her that the broadcast is over and that Taoyi had to leave. A wave of guilt washes over her as she admits she said something to upset him, a secret she quietly decides to keep between them. As her phone begins ringing incessantly, Zhu's demeanor shifts. He pulls her close, his voice low, as he suggests a walk to clear his head, a walk for just the two of them. He instructs her to bring her ID and keys, his intensity leaving no room for argument. In the car, she remarks that his phone has been ringing non-stop, but he simply mutes it, his focus entirely set on their destination, East Pole Island. Meanwhile, Jilin's own phone, now in Zhu's possession, is bombarded with frantic messages from Taoyi, begging her to answer and demanding to know if she ever thinks of him. On the boat to the island, Jilin drifts into an uneasy sleep in the lower deck cabin, her rest plagued by nightmares of a man named Shenzhen, whose obsessive desire to capture her every moment curdled into a chilling boast that she would do anything he asked. She wakes with a gasp, recoiling from Zhu's touch and dismissing her terror as just a bad dream. When the boat docks, she realizes she left her phone behind, but Zhu calmly produces it, chiding her for her carelessness before declaring he will hold on to it for her. He takes her hand, his grip firm and unyielding, and tells her to stay close. They arrive on the island, a place famous for the first sunrise of the new century. Zhu suggests they stay to watch it, playfully mocking her concern about finding a room so late at night, making it clear that his goal is to spend the night with her. He tells her to wait while he secures a place, his gaze softening for just a moment as he looks at her. After a frantic search, he finally finds a vacant room, but when he returns, she is gone.
A cold dread seizes him as he calls her name. Ji-lin. The name echoes into the empty air. He frantically questions passersby, but no one has seen her. The fear of abandonment triggers a devastating childhood memory of watching a young Ji-lin prepared to leave the orphanage as he pleaded with her not to leave him alone. The agony of the past cripples him, and he sinks into despair. He finally finds her by the water's edge, gazing out at the dark sea. She confesses that she just wanted to disappear somewhere no one could find her. When she challenges him to give her a reason not to, his mind fills with dark and possessive thoughts of them being destined for hell together. But he pushes the darkness down, his voice steady as he finally answers. He wants to watch the sunrise with her. Under a canopy of stars with the scent of the sea hanging in the air, Ji-lin teases Zhu, asking if he is captivated by her beauty, but his focus is elsewhere. He informs her with a deadpan expression that the last boat has already left. He takes her hand, a flicker of a smile crossing his lips, and declares it is far too late for her to run away from him now, calling her by her name, Ji-lin.
They arrive at a hotel and Ji-lin is immediately discovered there is only one room. Zhu coolly explains that it was short notice and they were lucky to get even one. She cannot help but blush furiously, her mind racing with implications, which he immediately calls her out on with a smirk. She denies imagining anything, clutching her bag like a shield. Relieved at least that the bathroom door is not transparent glass, she announces she's going to take a shower, her heart pounding in her chest. Left alone, Zhu's calm facade crumbles as he stares at his phone. A staggering negative balance of over 6 million stares back at him from the screen. He covers his face in despair, wondering what he is even doing. When Ji-lin emerges from her shower, she finds him standing silently by the window. As she settles onto the bed, she can hear the water running as he takes his turn. The sound clicks off and the door opens, revealing Zhu with only a towel around his waist. He asks if she has finished her shower, but his tone is strange and distant. Concerned, she asks what is wrong. He suddenly closes the distance, pinning her against the headboard, his grip tight and his body trembling. She begs him not to scare her, noticing with alarm that his voice is shaking as he asks when it started. Confused, she doesn't understand until he specifies he's talking about her eyes. A few minutes earlier, while in the shower, he'd found a pair of total colorblindness glasses in his bag, a stark reminder of his condition. He asks her whether she appears gray in his eyes, too, his voice laced with deep-seated pain. He insists she does not have to pity him, because she's the one with the most right to hate him. But what he feels for her, he breathes, has never been pity. And he pulls her into a desperate, passionate kiss. Later, as they lie in bed, she questions whether they can really just fall asleep holding hands. Her senses feel heightened. The sound of the waves seems less real than his breathing beside her. She whispers his name, and he confirms he's there, making her wonder if this is all a dream. She reminisces about their orphanage days, asking which memory makes him smile, and he says the one about Taui. She recalls the dates Howie was leaving the orphanage, how she broke the rule about running in the halls for the first and only time just to say goodbye. But when she saw him, her mind went blank, and instead of wishing him well, she blurted out something completely different, leaving him looking dazed. Even with her poor color recognition, she remembers his white sneakers and the plastic bucket he dropped. She realizes that every time she looked his way back then, their gazes would always meet. He was always silently watching her. Hearing this, Zhu's mood darkened instantly. He accuses her of throwing bait again, questioning what she expects him to do when she speaks of another man while lying in his bed. He pins her down, his eyes burning with intensity as he demands to know whether she wants a gentleman or a scoundrel. Just as the tension reaches its peak, her phone buzzes and shatters the moment. Zhu's eyes narrow, correctly guessing who it is. He orders her not to answer. Elsewhere, Shenzhen is on the line taunting her, but she firmly tells him to stop and that she is not coming back. He simply chuckles, threatening to send a couple photo of them to her teacher if she does not behave, a move that would crumble everything she's worked for. He warns her not to make him the bad guy before wishing her goodnight, leaving Ji-lin and Zhu separated by a wall of unspoken tension. The next morning, Ji-lin wakes beside a sleeping Zhu, their hands still intertwined. She reflects on a strange dream about their orphanage days and realizes that Zhu is far easier to understand than she first thought. He's like a traffic light flickering between red and yellow, but ultimately always turning green, always letting her approach. She thinks about how she's never seen a sunrise, and as if hearing her thoughts, he stirs and murmurs that he's seen plenty of sunsets. The words trigger a painful flashback.
Back to a sweltering day when a younger Zhu clutched a perfect test score, convinced it would make his mother smile. He rushed home, only to hear screams from inside. His mother was being strangled by his father, and when Zhu tried to intervene, he was violently beaten instead. That was the brutal lesson his father taught him. A perfect score could not fix a broken home. Later, bruised and sitting on the steps outside, his friend finds him and offers him a clean shirt. Enraged, his friend wants to go after his father, but Zhu stops him, knowing it would only cause his mother more pain. He is left alone, staring at a text from his friend, urging him to come live with him and escape that hell. The memory shifts to his father being arrested, his mother watching from the doorway, while Zhu crouches alone in the dark. His friend runs through the dawn and finds him just as the sun begins to rise, a sight he had never thought could be so blinding. Back in the present, watching the sunrise with Jilin, he quietly agrees that it is beautiful. Then, with a heavy heart and all the pain of his past weighing on him, he looks at her and makes a final, heartbreaking request: "Don't choose me." Jilin sits lost in thought, the echo of those words still ringing in her mind. Her phone buzzes, a message from Taoyi waiting at the dock, but another text catches her eye. A friend's mother teases her about the boyfriend who has been messaging and gently advises her to choose a man who makes her happy. It is a simple kindness that Jilin finds herself deeply envying. Later, as Jin Zhu suggests they head home, he suddenly stops her. His gaze is intense. He takes her hand, his voice low as he confesses that he misses her. He is tormented by their status as just friends, desperate to be part of her life and to know her joys and sorrows. With his heart completely laid bare, he finally asks if he can be her boyfriend. A flicker of conflict crosses Jilin's face as she clutches her phone and tells him she cannot give an answer just yet. It is not that she needs to think, she clarifies. She simply has something important to take care of first. Jin Zhu is left reeling, wondering if this is just a new and cruel way of being rejected. By Sunday, his anxiety has festered into a dark obsession. As he prepares for a photo shoot, his mind spirals, imagining another man getting too close to her, with Jin Zhu as the prime suspect. Just as he is about to leave, he runs into Jilin, who is also heading out. He can't shake his unease, pulling her close and quietly asking her to wait for him at home when she is done. His little brother is stunned by his hopelessly lovesick expression. Outside, Jin Zhu fusses over Jilin, insisting she take his car and call him if anything happens. His over-the-top concern actually calms her nerves. In the car, his brother notes that Jilin is not a child, but Jin Zhu's expression darkens as he insists Jay is different. Meanwhile, a silver-haired man named Shenzhen Cheng stands outside a theater, texting someone that he cannot wait to see them. A sharp voice calls his name, and he turns to find a woman in a business suit standing behind him. When he asks who she is, her answer is chillingly professional.